close your eyes. Wherever you are, whether you're at work right now, whether you're driving a car, it's just going to be a second. It's going to be okay. But I'm going to take you back to September 1964. You and the locals in Florence, Italy are melting in the Italian sun. But nothing is more heated than the argument you're having with your significant other. In fact, they haven't even touched their minestrone. They are so upset with you. You show them the newspaper clipping of a movie that you would like to go see, and they're just not having it. They just can't get excited about a stranger inserting themselves into a dire family situation and having a lasting impact on everyone they interact with. Who wants to watch a movie about someone cleaning up everyone else's problems? Anyway, you end up saying a bunch of things you don't mean, so you find yourself going to the movie by yourself anyway. And no, I'm not referring to Mary Poppins. That was premiering in New York. We're in Florence. We're in Florence, Italy. I'm talking about A Fistful of Dollars, starring Clint Eastwood.
Welcome to Three Films and a Podcast, the show where destiny brought together three friends to enhance each other's cinematic journey by watching three new movies in a series of themed rounds. There is no claim of ownership on any film footage used in this episode, as all film footage is owned in its entirety by the copyright holders. And just like every car in Too Fast, Too Furious, this podcast contains spoilers. Enjoy.
Oh, yeah. Your finest work yet. That's my favorite one.
That was really good.
Thanks, guys.
No, thank you. That was
stayed
wonderful.
up all night writing that. It took me weeks to perfect, honestly.
I could tell.
This is going to be a whole different outlook on who I want to recast.
Yeah.
Like Julie Andrews.
Here, ready to chat all things Fistful of Dollars. Today we have Tyler.
Get three coffins ready.
And Ben.
Make that four.
That was rehearsed.
It wasn't, but I was really hoping I could teach you up well enough.
Rhythm section, baby.
Yeah,
we're good.
We're Three Films and a Podcast. We're three folks challenging each other and all of you to watch movies you've never seen before. You can find us anywhere you can find podcasts, which is Spotify, Apple Podcasts. But our most preferred, if I could speak.
Is that the Italian pronunciation? The preferred way.
Yes.
No, it's the preferred. Our most preferred platform is YouTube. That's the best way to consume what we put out. So check us out there. But please, just keep coming back. Today we were going to be joined. I think it would have been his fourth time.
Would have been. He's the reason we need four coffins.
It's true.
That's right. It's a good thing our seamstress died. Otherwise, we would have been short of a four timers jacket.
Yeah.
But no worry. What I do have here is his Letterboxd reviews. So Jake, you couldn't make it, but I've got you right here, buddy.
I got you digitally.
Everything that you would have brought to the pod tonight, I have right here
in his pocket.
And so I'm going to share it with everybody. Fistful of Dollars. 4.5 stars. It's good.
Yeah.
That's it.
About where I had it.
And he's got 3 quotes. He's got "My mistake, 4 coffins."
Mm-hmm.
Heard it.
"It's like we're playing cowboys and Indians."
Mm-hmm.
And "You see, my mule don't like people laughing."
It's a good one.
Classics.
I laughed genuinely hard.
This movie has so many great quotes, and those are 3 of them. Jake, thanks for posting that. Yeah, we're gonna miss Jake tonight. But we're on our third and final, series of trilogies.
Mm-hmm.
We covered Matrix. We covered Lord of the Rings. We're finally on to the Dollars Trilogy,
Yep.
Which we were excited about because we covered Kurosawa a few rounds ago. There's a lot of parallels here, and it's wildly inappropriate to compare Kurosawa and these spaghetti westerns with Clint Eastwood. Yeah, which is exactly why we're going to do it.
Yeah,
yep, yeah, exactly.
We're a very provocative podcast.
There's literally no way you can't. I guess assuming, if it weren't for this podcast, I would be painfully unaware of Kurosawa, so I wouldn't be able to make that comparison. Just one of the many benefits of our movie club. But having seen Yojimbo and then doing some of the research and then seeing this movie for the first time, there's there's literally no way you can. I mean, it's like Ben and I, you were talking about it before we started recording. It's like, I've seen this before.
Yeah, it's like all these beats were coming. It's like, okay, I know what happens now. It was just really interesting. I'm glad for a lot of reasons that we watched Yojimbo before this. It was really cool to check that out. Same with, if we ever get around to Magnificent Seven or whatever, it'll be good to have seen Seven Samurai. But
totally.
Yeah, it was cool to watch it. But yeah, this is just felt like deja vu in a different setting, basically. It was kind of cool.
Yeah. While watching it, I guess I'll say that like I really, really, really liked this movie. I loved Yojimbo and I really liked this one. And I was wondering, like, I wonder if I had seen this first, if I would like it more than Yojimbo, or if I would have liked, because they're both really well made movies. It's a cool story with cool characters and an interesting protagonist and all that fun stuff. And so I'm really curious. So if you're listening or watching and you have a different experience with these two movies, you saw Fistful first. Let us know what you think. If it's like, if that was the case for you, that you liked one over the other because of the chronology of your viewing. But I rated this one 4 stars. I rated Yojimbo 4.5 stars. I really, really loved both of them.
I feel like it's probably most people's experience. They probably saw this first.
Yeah.
And then saw Yojimbo, because like I don't think there was a wide release for Yojimbo. And yeah, I don't know. I'm very curious for someone who saw that in that like order, how this plays out. So I don't know. I'm happy we did it the way we did. It's cool to kind of get into these spaghetti westerns. I remember years ago, like trying to figure out like, why do they call spaghetti westerns? Like what's whatever. And they're just like, oh, just because they're made in Italy. Like, oh, all right. Yeah, that makes sense. Like it's just an Italian Western. That's all it is. So, which is kind of cool. I mean, I know we'll get into our overall views, but I guess Clint Eastwood, like on the TV show he was working on while this was going on.
Wasn't it Gunsmoke?
I think so. Yeah. He,
or Bonanza or something like that.
It was, some one-word Western show, but in his contract, he couldn't make any movies in the US. And that's why like they went over to Italy to do it. Cause he like wanted to make it. Like, oh, that's a great way to work around it. But yeah, this is a good watch.
Yeah, that's cool. I mean, Tyler alluded to it. But for those of you listening who hasn't seen Yojimbo, this is essentially just a reskin of that movie. You take samurais out of the equation, you replace them with cowboys, take them out of Japan, you put them in Mexico, and then so then you have Fistful of Dollars, essentially. And it's cool because Kurosawa was very inspired by the westerns of the previous era, which kind of inspired his samurai movies. And then these samurai movies paid it forward and basically
totally
set the blueprint for like the next 20 years of spaghetti westerns and westerns, really.
Yeah.
But it's cool. And like, I was just thinking about like, this is as much of a copy of a movie as you can get without being like a direct copy. And I know that like we kind of do that with Shakespeare. Like we've remixed Shakespeare so many times, and a lot of times it's cool. Like sometimes you applaud someone for how well they copy like Shakespeare. But this one's crazy. And it's also just crazy how because of this movie, it just like kind of set how we think about and hear and experience Westerns, like with the score and everything.
Oh man, the Ennio Morricone like score. I listened to it today. I was like coming back from the shoot. I was like, I just want to listen to it. Like
it's unreal.
If you ever have any sort of Western, anything that you're trying to like just imply, just this theme from Fistful of Dollars is all you need. It's like, the little like kind of flute thing. I'm thinking like just all that stuff. Like this is the dude just made, it's the stereo. It's like what you need, I guess, whenever you're going to be doing any sort of Western. And it's beautiful. It's so good. It's such a good soundtrack. I'm very excited to get, because I know Good, Bad, and the Ugly, which is the third one here, is like the most famous soundtrack, I think, maybe of all of Ennio's work. But it's just like, it was beautiful. It added so much to the movie for sure.
I might argue it's the best part of the movie because like I said, I really enjoyed the movie, but all of my favorite parts involved all of the music and the whistling wind, across the dusty streets, and
just made everything so much cooler.
Just basically the sound design of it all.
Yeah.
And while I was watching, I'm like, if this music and the sound design didn't exist, like we're just watching like kind of a shitty play. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah.
And not shitty. Like it still would have been like a decent movie, but
he looks great in a poncho.
Dude looks great in a
poncho. But you add music to that poncho.
Yeah.
It's perfect. Yeah, I was watching this with my girlfriend and she was asking like, genuinely, there's like, what's the difference almost like in like the lone gunman versus a samurai story? I was like, nothing, especially in this, because of Yojimbo. And like, I thought it's a really good point because this is just like our American version of the samurai is like the gunman that comes in. But if you go back, like, cause she was talking about like, it sounds so much like those Kurosawa movies. And I was just like listening to the music. I'm like, yeah, this could totally fit into Yojimbo right now. Like, I know we've associated with these spaghetti westerns, but like you could sub that out and be like, yeah, these same kind of like, I don't know, tones and all that kind of stuff work perfectly with Yojimbo. And just amazing how much crossover there is here. I mean, enough to the point that Kurosawa got like 15% of all the profits from this movie once it finally got released because they're like, no, this is our movie, guys. Yeah, like this is us,
Yeah, like at least run it by us.
Yeah.
Like,
Exactly.
I could have given you some tips, like some helpful pointers. It's funny right when you said you were talking about the differences. My immediate reaction was I feel like Yojimbo, the protagonist, is a little more playful than the protagonist here in this. But then when I get to thinking about it, like he's a pretty.
They're both super pissed.
As far as like a murderous, gunslinger can be, he's pretty playful, all things considered. But I remember for whatever reason, I felt like Yojimbo was a little bit lighter. Yeah, and maybe it's just because, bloodthirsty murder is never a lighthearted thing. But I think there's something to do with the gun that adds to it. Yeah. Like the noise of the gun and also like just the way guns feel in our society right now is a little strange, which like, don't get me wrong. Like I still love a good gun movie, but it's hard for me not to think about that. And for some reason, swords, even though they're a little bit more visceral and arguably more violent, I mean, that's Joker's whole argument.
I feel like we're detached enough from like that culture to make it feels like kind of like
fantastic.
Exotic. Fantastic.
Exotic's a good point.
So you kind of mentioned this in your Letterboxd review, just like how gun crazy our society is. Yeah. And just like how much these Westerns fed into that.
Like if you go through Eastwood's filmography, which I had to do for a later segment and that we're going to talk about, every single cover he's on is him pointing a gun or holding a gun or like.
That's why Charlton Heston like became the face of the NRA. You know what I mean? Like it's like in Hollywood, just carried over.
Yeah, but it made me think like, what if there was the equivalent in Japan of like what we experience in the United States? Like you have like people refusing to put down their katana. Like, they insist on open carrying their katana in the grocery store.
I mean,
wild.
I have to pry this katana out of my cold dead hands.
Yeah, exactly. That was honestly like probably the biggest thing, like the two things we're talking about right now, because Toshiro Mifune in Yojimbo, it's like Clint Eastwood wasn't hiking up a tower and just like laughing at these guys at each other, and that's what I liked about Yojimbo so much, which is like he was ruthless and a killer for sure, but he also kind of had a sense of humor, and I feel like they took that away completely with Joe. Like Clint Eastwood did not really have that side of him, which is like, it's fine. We're talking about it being such a copy that like it's good you make something unique or make it its own, but it's just unfortunate that's like one of the few likable characteristics from Yojimbo, who's just like a killer, a hired killer. Like it was fun to see him have fun with it. But the guns is also just a huge thing because the one gun in Yojimbo was so predominant and like it stuck out because like that guy with like his version of the poncho or whatever, just like kind of pulling it out, like that he was cool. He was the one guy with the gun. And as I was watching this, is like, no one's can't replicate that character. Like I think they tried. I think that was Ramon. I think it's who it was supposed to be. Yeah. But it's just like he was just like better with the gun. But in Yojimbo, he was the one guy with the gun. And that made him on a whole different level. And I missed that. I missed the sword fighting. Yeah, there was no inclination that Yojimbo was gonna die in Yojimbo. But there was certainly none with this movie, I felt like. It was like we're just waiting for
Joe, I guess is his name in the movie. We're waiting for Eastwood to just mow down the next group of people.
Yojimbo.
It was Yojimbo. It's the pod, ladies and gentlemen.
Hey.
Hey.
What's your name?
Joe. John.
What is it?
Joe John.
Name's Joe John?
Johnston, Joe.
But yeah. So it's a good point though. It's like, not that it wasn't cool and fun to watch. And I think, Eastwood obviously has a level of charisma that carried him through 75 movies or however many he's made that were all fairly successful and well liked.
Yeah.
But yeah, there was just like a lightness and sort of a for lack of a better term, and to repeat myself, just a playfulness to the way Toshiro Mifune did it that I liked a little bit better. But when it's all said and done, I really liked Eastwood. I just want to, it is an interesting way to look at our history, like going back through these movies and talking about like the prevalence of guns and the pervasiveness of them in pop culture. And the way that Joe deals with every problem in this movie is to shoot his way out of it. Literally it's like, that's the American way, is like, just shoot your way out. Like when he's rehabbing, his rehab is pulling the trigger enough that his hand is strong enough. It's just, it's not difficult to see why we have such an affinity for guns. And I have no problem with guns. Personally, I have a problem with things that happen with them, but not to get too political about it, but it is a little eye-opening and a little shocking to go back, seeing everything that's happening and all the crazy violence and like, no shit. Like, we've been indoctrinated, it's kind of wild.
It really is. And I just think, to go back to Mifune, it's like hard to, I don't know that anyone can ever do a role that he did better, And so it's like, even as good as Clint Eastwood is, this was like his first breakout. Like, I don't know that he was like amazing in this. Like, I think he was good. I just think he fell into, I'm excited. That's why I'm excited to go through this trilogy, because I feel like he probably embraced it a lot more the further it went in. But, some of it, not to sound like millennial, whatever, but I'm like, man, the ADR was awful. It was so hard to listen to, like knowing they recorded all silently. And then like, he just doesn't, I don't know. Like we grew up with the Clint of like Unforgiven, who already had like the gravelly voice. And I guess I was expecting that going into this. And this was like 30-year-old Clint, who's just like, he hadn't seen as much shit as he's seen now, So it's just like.
You mean you don't admire peace?
It's not really easy to like something you know nothing about.
I don't know.
Whiskeys.
Wait, are you doing me or Eastwood right now?
It's hard to tell.
It's funny when you mentioned the ADR. Actually, I kind of liked it. There was like
charming.
A charm to it.
Yeah, for sure.
It was one of those things. I was like, this is like with the guns and the storytelling and the Hollywood of it all. This movie's like pure Americana to me.
For sure.
And it like, just with the way that you're so aware that you're watching a movie because of the ADR, because of like,
the gunshot sound effects,
like all the sound design and the score is like incredible, but it's noticeable. Like we talk about like good scores usually blend in, but like I said, I would argue the score is the best character in this entire movie.
For sure.
Or at least my favorite.
Yeah.
And the best part of the movie. And so you're just really aware the entire time that you're watching a movie.
My favorite thing about the movie is like it feels like a movie.
But and I mean that in a good way.
Yeah.
Like a lot of movies, you want to be transported and not be aware and all that stuff. But for this movie and just like the style of movie in this time, like I thought it was really cool.
These set pieces look a lot like you would find them in a Universal backlot.
Totally.
It's like, here's the left side of the town, here's the right side of the town. We're just gonna put it in the desert. Like, cool, that works. Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah, it's awesome. And I never got tired of seeing just like sweaty faces, leathery skin.
Some whistling wind and
oh yeah. They look miserable.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, they're wearing ponchos in the desert. Like I know it's good. It's actually good to cover up when you're out in the sun. Like I've worked outside jobs a lot but it's like still, man, you're poncho and a hat and leather boots.
Yeah,
like, of course
you're
layering.
layering.
I don't know what else you would do in that time, in that place in the world, but yeah.
Yeah. Well, this predates, any modern day elevator, which is exactly where we're going right now.
Yes, we are.
We're going to the elevator pitch.
Before we get started, does anyone want to get out?
We're stuck in an elevator and we have to convince someone to watch this movie. We need to show them one scene that will get them to watch the movie. We only have a few minutes. The elevator, they're about to get off, and all we have is, the screen that they intended us to watch this movie on. And we're showing them one scene. Ben, what scene are you showing them?
I'm going to defer to Tyler because he put it in first.
Okay.
I don't want to
Well, I put it in first, but I mean, we all have the same idea here. But it's got to be the first showdown scene. It's Jake mentioned it in his review, and we've alluded to it in our opening.
Thank
here.
you, Jake.
It's everything from when he walks past the coffin maker. You're going to need to build 3 coffins, to when he mows down the group of the bakers, right? Or what are they called? What's the second?
Oh, yeah.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
With
Pause.
yeah. Do like a rewind sound effect. And then, but anyways, he mows down the people, and, that whole sequence from you're going to need 3 coffins to, oh, never mind, you need 4.
My mistake. 4 coffins.
You should just roll some of this clip because I'm butchering the cell here.
You're nailing it.
But because instantly watching it, I'm like, this is all I need. I'm in. I was already in. I was excited to watch this. Just the lore behind it, and I like westerns.
Mm-hmm.
Despite not having seen a whole ton of them, I usually like them. It's an interesting genre to me. But I was just in. I was like, yeah, what else do you need to see?
And it was cool. I think they set it up pretty well. This was, I'm afraid I'm going to do this the whole episode, but this is one of my favorite things from Yojimbo that I missed on this is when he meets the bartender innkeeper and they do the whole pan from this window to that window. They lift it up and we see all the
tried it
sides.
a little bit. There was one little window moment, which I was like, oh, yeah.
They gave it a shot, which is cool. And they just put him on the balcony or whatever. But, he's talking about no one makes money legally here except for the coffin maker, so we kind of get the setup okay, there's this guy here. So it's so good. It's the only right answer. I know, none of us want to do spoilery stuff, but I do think you could, out of context, show the aim for the heart, finale thing, because you don't know, that could be in the first fight that he's no, try to shoot me here, and lifts it off. So we don't necessarily know that this is the last battle.
Yeah, that could be the moment he establishes
trick.
his.
Yeah, and I like how they set that up as well, throughout the movie of using that, the armor or whatever. But it's hard not to pick the 4 coffins. I think that's how you got to go.
I felt similarly about that later scene, but the 4 coffins. It's that is the elevator pitch for the movie, and you can't always identify the turning point in a story where it's oh, the audience is on board now.
Yeah.
But that's for sure it.
Totally.
And it's cool that it's very, right there at the beginning, right where it needs to be.
Yeah. I mean, I do think if we're talking about the beginning, just the beginning of the movie, when we see that little kid running around, because I genuinely thought these guys are out of their fucking minds, shooting at this child.
Yeah.
And then he just goes into a house across the street from their house. I'm like, this is where this kid lives. What is this world?
Was it Yojimbo that a dog brings in a severed hand?
Yeah, exactly.
Totally.
Yeah.
It's
I love that.
There are ways of setting up, how bad society is there.
Both were extremely effective because like I said, what even world? These guys are monsters. What is happening
here?
Yeah.
One honorable mention I wanted to mention also is the scene where pretty much everything and everybody's on fire.
Yeah.
I thought it was just so chaotic.
Pure chaos.
And if I didn't choose the 4 coffin scene, I would show just 10 seconds of that and be
because that scene, even if you showed 10 seconds, it wouldn't spoil it because it's 10 minutes long.
Yeah.
They just
so
keep
long.
coming out of the
Guys
house
falling out of buildings onto fire. People running around on fire.
If you're going to burn the set down, show it in the movie. Let's get our money's worth.
Exactly. Unfortunately, we do have an alternate timeline where Mr. Eastwood, who very clearly was the star of this movie, set up a generation of, really set up sort of what is the iconic Western now.
Yeah.
Who knew that someone could surpass John Wayne? Now, John Wayne fans, hold up. I think I feel like I'm stepping on something here.
Let
me rein it back a little bit. Yeah. John Wayne, he's John Wayne. No one's going to take that away from him. But if we're being honest here, and if you're going to ask anyone what who they think of more as far as Westerns go. If they're not older than 50, more likely they're going to be thinking of Clint Eastwood.
Yeah.
So anyways, let me get back on course here. Clint Eastwood, the face of Western movies, ate some bad pizza. We're in Italy here. It's hot. Pizza probably got left out.
Yeah.
Without a doubt.
That ham hanging in the window.
Happens.
Yep. Yeah. And anyway, he wasn't able to swing the taping. It happens.
Does.
And
Time to time.
we hate to hear it.
Isn't that what happened to Jake tonight too?
It happened to Jake. He ate some bad pizza, and he kind of phoned this one in via Letterboxd.
Letterboxed today.
Henry Fonda, unfortunately, is not available.
Okay.
He turned it down.
Okay.
Charles Bronson also turned it down.
Okay. Weird, but
Crazy.
all right.
Which these two men actually did turn it down, by the way. So did like 15 other dudes.
Was it Henry Fonda that said it's like one of the worst scripts he's ever read or something like that?
Something like
It's
that.
just
Like,
crazy.
This went through, seriously, like Clint Eastwood was like the bottom of the list.
Yeah,
Because they went to was it Charles Bronson was like his co-star on the TV show, I think.
Oh, maybe.
And then he's like, I'm not going to do it, but you can talk to this guy. And then like Clint Eastwood's like, all right, I'll do it. Like,
Sure.
I don't remember who it
So
was
wait,
exactly.
I mean, I guess if you've, I don't know, I'm just trying to think of how it could be the worst script. There's not a lot of dialogue. There's no
Look,
nothing interesting really being
Geely hadn't
said.
come out yet, Tyler.
Oh, that's true. That's
Yeah.
true.
Oh, so it looked like it was, who was it? Oh no. Okay. So Eric Fleming. Oh, was it Rawhide? That's what he was on. Rawhide. So he
Neither
turned
of
it
the ones, I
down and
guess.
suggested his co-star Clint Eastwood for the part.
And Eric Fleming was like the 15th pick.
Yeah, without a doubt. Yeah. He was the Eric Roberts of the
Yeah.
60s. Eric Fleming. I guess we can give it to him. I don't know.
Anyway, no one's taken this role. There's literally no one left. Clint Eastwood was the last guy that we had in this era. So we're going to have to turn to our time machine.
Okay.
That's our only hope of recasting this role.
Got to do it.
Who are we casting?
It's a great question. I guess I was a little confused by the rules. Are we allowed to take someone back from our time into this
Oh, yeah.
movie?
Oh, yeah.
See, I wasn't prepared for that, and that's okay, because I still have an answer that I like.
Okay.
But just make it more clear next time. No, I'm an idiot. So assuming Toshiro Mifune is out of the question, because I feel like that's the obvious answer, right? Like, just let Toshiro do
It'd be
it.
pretty cool to see.
Might be kind of weird to see him with a gun,
I don't think so.
but it would be
Why
cool
can't we
for
put Yojimbo in the spaghetti western? That'd be really cool.
be like,
Yeah, he doesn't need a gun.
it's true. Oh shit, that's a good
Some real
twist.
stakes. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the movie poster. He
Maybe that
doesn't
could have
need
been
a gun.
that could have been his like rightful ascension into like Hollywood and US, US pop culture. Not that,
International
he's
He's got the scowl.
yeah. But so like again, I thought we were using only people from the time, and the only person that I'm familiar with, but I also do think is a good pick. I think he could bring some of that, I guess, levity for a better word to the role is Sterling Hayden.
Yeah.
We covered The Killing, which is where I'm familiar with him from, and he's got
He's
like
a bad man.
he's got a dark presence to him, but he's also very charming, and he could bring a little bit of that goofiness that Toshiro brings to the role. So that's the role that's the way I'd go here.
I think it'd be a really good pick. I like Sterling Hayden a lot.
I'm just realizing, like, I don't for sure know if was he alive at this point?
Yeah,
Like,
I mean, I was just looking it up. Like this year, 1964, he did Doctor Strangelove.
Oh, that's right.
The Killing was about 8 years before this. So, yeah, my first experience with him was The Godfather. But yeah, Sterling Hayden would be a really, really good choice. I was under the same impression that we had the same kind of time machine. I thought just I was going back and trying to find someone. So I ended up going with Steve McQueen because I just love Bullet. I love Steve McQueen. I think he's great. I mean, looking up on IMDb, like he had just done The Great Escape the year before this. I think he can play, kind of the silent whatever role. And I guess it's like something Clint Eastwood brought to Sergio because I guess the script had a lot more dialogue for Joe. So maybe that's what like Henry Fonda read. He's like, that's why I'm not doing this. And Clint's like, no, he should just talk a lot less. So I think Steve McQueen would be cool. It did throw me off though. I just kept laughing to myself because I think it was a typo in the outline. But at the beginning, this this genre gets called the spaghetti western, and I kept thinking of Tim and Eric and just having like spaghetti show up like behind the bar or something like that with a gun,
Yeah, like with a pistol.
I would just want to see him like hiding behind like this spaghetti. Oh my god, I just think that'd be so much fun to watch
awesome.
that. So yeah, but if I can't get Tim Heidecker to do spaghetti, then I would go back and get Steve McQueen to do it.
Perfect. So I got the memo right.
Yeah.
I'm using the time
Yeah.
machine accurately.
Well, I'm the dumb one here. That's why you need the Eli 5.
I mean-
for me, you know?
our producers sometimes don't do a good job of clarifying our emails.
It's true.
So
Yeah.
we don't have a good vetting system.
Gotta fire
We're
that
new to
intern.
this. We're figuring this out. No, but I'm using the time machine. And while I would be tempted, I would not choose this person. I do feel like he's kind of, with the roles that he's been putting out, especially the last like decade, I feel like this trilogy specifically is very akin to what we experienced with John Wick, with Keanu.
Yeah.
Obviously, John Wick's not ripping off Kurosawa, but he's just a killer that just
Swords
is fun to
and
watch.
guns,
Yeah.
Use anything.
Take that, Toshiro Mifune.
Yeah.
You ever killed anyone with a pencil? I don't think so.
So I would take Keanu, even though that'd be awesome. But I was thinking someone who has like that, just like that stone cold gritty scowl, and I'm gonna bring back Josh Brolin.
Yeah.
Like,
It's a really good pick.
Goonies got Josh Brolin.
Goonies. Okay, yeah, the same outfit as Goonies. He can be the ageist now, but he's got the same outfit. No, I thought about when I saw you put that, my first thought was Sicario,
Yeah.
which may not be a lot of people's first thought for Josh Brolin, but I feel like he kind of played, it's a version of, maybe more than Mifune because he's like has a sense of humor in it, but kind of doesn't take any bullshit kind of guy in Sicario. And I think, he could totally pull it off. Brolin would be awesome. Be really good.
I mean, that's essentially his whole role in No Country for Old Men.
Mm-hmm.
Just a silent stalker. I mean, he's got a different circumstance, but he's a man of few words that seems very capable and
Yeah,
good
that's
with
true.
a gun.
Similar in Deadpool 2
Yeah.
as Cable.
Yeah.
Without a doubt.
Yeah. I mean, Brolin's probably, if you're taking someone from here to there, through time, it's probably the right way to go.
We're gonna try.
Yeah. We'll give it a shot. Name one time travel movie that's ever gotten it wrong.
Die Hard.
Now it's time for our Rushmore Mountain.
These are OR scrubs. Oh, are they?
And I am actually shocked that we've made it this far without doing an Eastwood Rushmore Mountain, or even an Eastwood movie. Has he been in any movie that we've covered, even as a cameo?
And I mean, I was surprised by that thought as well, until I went through his filmography. I'm like, oh, I've seen nothing. He's so present in at least American pop culture.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like my dad really loves all these movies, and my grandpa loves these movies, and so there are things I've heard about, and you can't. Well, I couldn't go through my life without hearing about Clint Eastwood. He was a huge figure in popular culture. So I was surprised to see that I'd only seen. There's only two that I remember. I'm jumping over the intro here, I guess, but I'd only seen two that I remember. This one and Gran Torino. And then there's a couple other that I think I've seen, but I don't really remember. Like pretty sure I saw Unforgiven when I was young, and I shouldn't have, but I don't really remember it. And I'm pretty sure I've seen $1 Million Baby, but that's it. And I saw American Sniper, but is he in that, or is he just directed?
It says he has like uncredited, like
so that doesn't count.
Churchgoer.
But so I guess I would have to take of this and Gran Torino. I'd have to take this one. Oh, we can't take this one, so I'll say Gran Torino because this one has to be on the Rushmore, right? Since Jake isn't here.
I mean, it can be. We can also just like pick. I think honestly, like Good, Bad, and the Ugly would probably be the one that makes it on there. But
yeah,
you can throw this one on there.
I'll just say Gran Torino so we can have this one be on there. But I don't know. You decide when you edit this thing together.
I mean, going through his stuff, it was kind of the same thing where it's just like, it's someone who's in the culture and someone we all know about. But I feel like, I mean, Steve may have like educated you better than, my parents did, but I feel like for all three of us, our first experience with Clint Eastwood was in The Mask when Jim Carrey's like, "Do you feel lucky?" Well, Jimmy Fonco's like, "Oh, okay, I think I know what it's supposed to be." It's like there's a Jim Carrey pulling this like Clint Eastwood reference for all of us 10-year-olds that were watching The Mask. Like, yeah, why not?
And what's crazy is, I think this is what you just said, but like we knew what he meant.
Yeah, exactly.
Like I knew it was Eastwood, and you just know.
Because you know that voice, you know that tone.
Yeah.
I'm like, I have no idea what this is from.
Now you have to ask yourself one question. Do I feel lucky? Well, do ya, punks?
But I think that's supposed to be Clint Eastwood. So, I think I've seen Escape from Alcatraz. I've seen a handful, but not a lot. I may have seen more of the stuff he's directed than he's acted in. But I went with Unforgiven. I think it's, I don't know. I think it's a great movie, great performances from everyone. And I guess I'm going off this as him as an actor. If we were doing the director, I might go Mystic River because that movie is amazing. Like I really love that movie quite a bit. So again, like since I'm the editor, I'll figure out which one I want.
This is an interesting point though. Like for someone like Clint Eastwood or like Rob Reiner or something, someone that's done a lot of movies from both ends. Like I think their Rushmore should be able to include both because I would also put Mystic River on. Yeah, for my pick over Gran Switcherino and probably Fistful of Dollars. I really like Mystic River. It's been a while since I've seen it, but I really like that movie. Time. So,
that's Sean Penn.
Yeah. So in the moment, I say we should allow directors' picks, which allow
So you want to take Mystic River?
I'll take Mystic River. Yeah,
I'll do Unforgiven because he did double duty, directed and acted. Plus, we got Gene Hackman, which I'm always a fan of.
Oh, we'll throw Gene Hackman anywhere we can.
Yeah.
Richard Harris.
Richard Harris.
Come on.
Dumbledore, what's up, dude? Yeah. Cool. Yeah, I'll go with that. I'll go with Unforgiven.
I like it.
Unforgiven's a great pick. I have to go with, speaking of the...
Do you feel lucky?
Yeah. Thank you. Speaking of the Mask quote, I got to go Dirty Harry.
Yeah.
I love that scene. It's still one of the coolest scenes. What's funny is that so I did grow up seeing Eastwood movies, primarily the Westerns, and I hadn't seen Dirty Harry in a really long time. And I was like a teenager and I'd always associated that line with Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. Oh, in my head, it was just, that was always the line.
Especially when you're a kid, they're all the same.
Yeah.
It's cowboys shooting guns.
And I remember just being thrown off later in my later teens, seeing Dirty Harry and be like, wait a second. Is this in 2 movies?
Yeah.
Is this in every Clint Eastwood movie?
That would be rad if he just said it in every movie.
You're just waiting for it.
Yeah, he did it.
It's like some of those Spike Lee jokes that he puts in all of his movies.
Yeah.
I was trying to think of other people that have that. It's like the Rob Schneider cameo and all that. Like Clint Eastwood gets to come in and ask someone if he feels lucky. Give me Eastwood. We got to have him.
Yeah. We got a character pushing their luck. Where's Eastwood when you need him?
Oh, we should have him like Ocean's 11. You feel lucky.
Awesome. So recapping this Rushmore, we have Mystic River, we have Unforgiven, we have Dirty Harry, and of course we have Fistful of Dollars, the episode that we're doing.
We should revisit this Rushmore after the end of this round to see if any of it changes.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll still maybe we could do like a double Rushmore, update this one if needed, and then do whatever we do for Good, Bad, and the Ugly.
I think this one works though, because this is kind of his star-making movie role.
Yeah.
So Good, Bad, and the Ugly might be better, but for what we're putting on here, I think we'd be good. But I think we should revisit it for sure.
It's worth, it's all for the content.
Maybe we'll ask Blake Riverton if we're feeling nice. We'll see.
Blake Riverton. Yeah, we got some suspect messages from Blake Riverton who will not come on the pod anymore.
No.
We've tried a few times.
Yeah, we talked Bond.
He's insisting. Yeah, we're going to take this. We're going to go on a detour here. Blake Riverton, if you're listening, we'll cover Bond at some point. We'll let you come on and host. We'll let you host the episode.
Please, I would love that.
I actually would be. Yeah, that'd be fun.
If we Blake Riverton, like a different Bond, like a Connery, Brosnan.
Wait, we have to impersonate?
No, it
Each
would
of
have
us
like if
the
we did a
round.
round.
Oh, okay.
But we couldn't like pick 3 Connerys. Like we had to do
Right,
3
okay.
different
Oh, I love
Cons.
that.
I think
Yeah.
it's kind of cool.
That'd be
we're-
fun.
So we're planning on air right here.
Season
You
3.
never get to, no one gets to see this.
Yeah.
A little peek
You're
behind
the
the curtain
first.
here.
Whoever's watching this is the first time you ever get to see this planning session right here. We're gonna do it.
It's riveting stuff.
Make it happen.
Look for Blake Riverton. He is not coming on our show because he wants James Bond.
Gotta have it.
Wants James Bond.
Got to have the bond.
Anyway, we've never met this person. We assume we know him. He's using some type of pseudonym.
He DMs us all the time.
Nonstop.
Anyway,
Poor intern. Dealing
We
with Blake
did-
Riverton all day.
we did put out to the social channels to hear what everyone else's favorite Clint Eastwood movie is. And we just wanted to read off some of these submissions from our movie club. Real Ramblin' is saying Hang 'em High. I don't remember Hang 'em High. And
As mentioned, I've
your Clint
seen
Eastwood.
0 Eastwoods.
but I know Hang 'em High is a popular one. Malin 1811 said Letters from Iwo Jima. It's been a long time since I've seen that. Did he just direct that or was he in that?
I think you directed. I want to say like, that's the first directing thing I remember. I know it wasn't the first thing he.
That was
He
a pretty
did?
cool thing because he did like a companion movie with it, Flags of Our Fathers, I think.
Okay, so this is actually 2 years after.
One's the American perspective, one's the Japanese perspective.
Oh, okay.
Cool. That's rad.
It's interesting.
Adam Palcher and I Hate Your Taste in Movies chose In the Line of Fire.
The Podfather says that this movie, In the Line of Fire, is criminally underrated.
Do you agree?
Let us know.
Let us know in the comments.
Keep in mind, he also liked Joker. So
Loved
true.
Joker.
let's throw that out there.
Loved it
Loves
with a
Todd
fervor
Phillips.
and a passion.
Love Todd Phillips.
Unrivaled.
Just kidding, Adam. I love you.
Christian Renteria from the Movie Pit podcast he put Unforgiven, which made our Rushmore. So it's a great one. And JT Money, JT Robertson picked Pale Rider and The Man from Snowy River. I haven't seen either of those.
Really pushing the limits there of what's your one favorite Eastwood, but we like JT. We'll let it slide.
Yeah. Thank you for sending those in too. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, thank you.
We love the interaction from Movie Club. So even after this episode, let us know. Send in your favorite Eastwoods, and we'll shout you out on the socials. The intern needs some work to do, anyways.
For sure.
So In the Line of Fire is directed by Wolfgang Peterson, who also did Air Force One, which is a good sign.
Yeah.
I feel like that's something that we've got to check out. Like In the Line of Fire looks like one of his first. Like
He also did the
American
Never Ending
movies.
Story.
Hell yeah! How is that not on his
Yeah.
IMDb
Wow.
known for? That's crazy. That's one of my favorite games to play with my girlfriend. Is we'll
Yeah.
pick someone and do like, what do you think their IMDb known for is?
Totally.
I can't believe Never Ending Story wouldn't be here.
The boat is
The boat?
there.
Like what is the boat?
It's not even a boat, it's a submarine.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Is a submarine a boat?
a U-boat.
I guess that's true.
It's true, yeah. Troy. All right. Well,
Oh, he did Troy.
oh, that guy.
Oh, yeah.
Interesting. All right. Well, sorry,
Cool.
Wolfgang.
Yeah, well, we'll check out In the Line of Fire for sure.
Yeah.
Thanks again for submitting those. Does anyone else have anything else they want to cover on here?
I know we're not doing Apollonia, and I know I said that my favorite character is the score, but I want to shout out Ramon, the guy that played Ramon.
Dude.
The character, I thought he was really, really good.
Ben called out this scene, like the shoot me in the heart scene, but I
Yeah.
loved Clint Eastwood just like trolling Ramon.
Yeah, so
It
good.
was,
That's like
It
I
was
think.
And
great.
also, like, Ramon, buddy, like, don't shoot him where he's telling you to, and he continues to not die. Like,
Yeah, he just keeps doing it. It's like he'll be back in the next one too. Which is
Oh,
really
nice.
Cool to see.
I just his performance really stood out. Honestly, against all of them, like I thought it was.
Yeah.
I would say almost arguably better than Eastwood's performance, but Eastwood's just so charismatic.
Yeah, that's true.
He's a really great foil for Eastwood, I guess is what I'm saying. I really, really liked his performance quite a bit.
Yeah, I thought he was really good. I don't know that I have anything to add other than just what we talked about earlier. Like I wish this could get, and maybe it did, but just like a revamp on the ADR, because there was, like one of the moments, it's like one of the final moments where Joe's killed pretty much everyone, and he's walking over, and then all of a sudden this like shotgun like comes out of the window, and it's
Yeah.
like, oh shit, someone's gonna get him. and then it's just like this very muted shotgun noise, like pew, know, and it's like wait, what? Like we just had all these like guns, like these like, and then just like it just I don't know, it just felt so muted and stuff. Like man, I feel like I wish this had a revamp because it just would have had so much more impact that he got saved by the guy that he saved or whatever, but I just like kind of got taken out of it. And I know it's like whatever, it's a 60-year-old movie and I'm picking nits here, but it's just like I feel like it could have made the experience so much different.
Yeah. It's interesting too. Like one thing I was thinking when I was watching it, like the Gatling gun scene at the river is fucking bananas. And I'm just thinking like there's a lot of scenes, pretty much every scene in this movie, if it were shot now, like the gratuitous gore in it would just be out of control. Yeah. And it makes the violence seem like more palatable, but it also makes it seem more cartoonish, which could lead to the way we feel about gun violence as a society. Like it's not that big a deal. It's funny. It's cartoonish. It's, I'm getting a little, I don't know what the word is, but it's interesting in the comparison. They just didn't have the ability to have like the blood packs and the bullet holes and all that stuff. And so now if we were to do that same Gatling gun scene, it would be,
they'd turn them to pieces.
Yeah. It would be
jarring. Yeah.
Jarringly violent.
Well, I mean, we just saw one earlier in the other trilogy with the Matrix when he's just like, on the helicopter.
Totally.
Like, we're just watching the bullets rain down and stuff like that. But one last thing I thought was really interesting is that I guess in the American film code at this time, if you shot someone, the camera had to stay on the shooter when the gun fired. So you couldn't see anyone actually get hit. But Sergio Leone didn't know that. And I guess that just wasn't the rule, obviously, in Italy. So Eastwood was like, put the camera behind me when I shoot him so we see him fall. Because in American movies, the camera has to stay on the guy because they didn't want all the violence. Yeah. So this really did we now see it as like cartoonish and whatever. At the time is like, feels like it's one of the few things where you actually get to see like, oh, he just shot that guy. Like, it's kind of interesting how things change.
Yeah, the boundary.
We need to pencil in Clint Eastwood as a co-directing credit on this movie.
I guess so.
So we went backwards on how we portray violence towards humans, but forwards on how we protect horses in movies. Because that Gatling gun scene was rough to watch with the horses. The one that rolls down the hill, I was like, oh my God.
Yeah, I don't know you can train that.
That was not supposed to happen. Like that poor horse. And, rightfully so. Like, all like the Game of Thrones scenes, it's all digital horses and stuff.
It was one of the hardest scenes of the, can't think of it, the remake of the Western with the Coen brothers with Jeff Bridges.
Oh, True Grit.
True Grit. That's like that final, like one of those last scenes. It was like, that was so hard, but kind of crazy. Yeah.
I guess one last thing to add before someone in the comments posts it, but post it anyways, please.
Yeah, please do.
Please post it anyways. This movie was released actually 3 years later in the United States. Mainly, we already talked about this. They were scared to get sued by the Kurosawa folks, or whatever studio did the Kurosawa movies.
Yeah.
And rightfully so, they did get sued to smithereens and made a lot of money off of this movie.
Yeah, it was something like they got 15% of all the profits. And then I think that studio got to release it like in Japan and like some of the Asian countries. Like they got the rights to it in the lawsuit. And like, I mean, it makes sense though. Like you just made their movie. That's all you did. So I don't know. Be really, And now I'm just trying to figure out what other movie I want to put spaghetti in. Let's make these spaghetti westerns. Can we make us an animation for that?
I can't believe Tim didn't do that.
It's so good.
Cool. Well, thanks for joining us for this episode. We hope you watched this movie. We hope you liked it. We certainly did. And we hope you join us for the rest of this trilogy and our other trilogies and all of our other episodes.
So
come back. See you later.
See ya.
You're on camera. Spaghetti. These guys so spooked. I got you. I spooked you. You should have seen your faces. My name's Spaghetti. I do parties, and you just take my card. And if you need someone to spook you...
I saw somebody back there. I thought it was our boss's kid or something, because he'd been back there for like 10 minutes messing around, and then he jumped out, and I saw it wasn't a kid. It was actually a full-grown man. That was kind of surprising. I wasn't.
Gotcha.